Hello, my amazing students. This is Mrs. A, and I love math. And tonight we're here with lesson 26 in our Saxon Orange book, which is Algebra 1, and we're talking about more complicated equations. So let me see if I can get my lighting better. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So now what we're going to do is talk about equations that have variables on both sides of the equal sign. So this is the same equation. So I'm going to do it twice for you. One time I'm going to get all of the variables to the left, and the other time I'm going to get all the variables to the right. We're going to come up with the same answer both times, showing you that it really doesn't matter whether we move the variable to the left or to the right. But we generally leave the variable on the left in the final answer. So if we do get something like 6 equals x, then at the very end we would turn it around to say x is equal to 6. Now I have no idea if that's the answer to this equation, but we usually leave the variable on the left at the end of the problem. So here we go. Now we're going to move the variable to the left first. Okay, I can't remember what I said. So we're going to subtract the 5x to get this variable over here and subtract the 5x. Okay, so now we have a negative 2x minus 4, and then on the other side is 7. Now we're trying to get the variable by itself. So when we add 4 and add 4, so I'm going to do it this way. So we're going to add 4 here and add 4 there. So we have negative 2x. We add a 4, that's going to cancel that one. We add a 4, that's going to make it an 11. So now we are going to divide by a negative 2 and divide by a negative 2 so that x is equal to negative 11 halves. Okay, so now we're going to do the same one, but now we're going to move the variable to the right. So we're going to subtract 3x and subtract 3x. Notice I focus on the variable first because I know I cannot solve for a variable unless I have it in one spot. So I'm going to cancel that. Negative 4 is equal to 2x plus 7. Now I've got my x over here, so I want to get rid of the 7. So minus 7 minus 7. So now I have negative 11 is equal to 2x, and this cancels. I divide by a 2, and I divide by the 2, and I get x is equal to negative 11 halves again. And again, I would write it this way, flipping it around so that my x is on the left. Okay, so here we go with the next example. Now, this one is even more complicated because notice I've got variables all over the place. I've got 2 variables on the left, 1 variable on the right. I need to simplify variables. So, wouldn't it make sense to add like terms on each side and simplify each side before I continue with trying to get the variables in one spot? So, I'm going to take the 2x terms on the left side. 3x plus a negative x is a 2x. A 2 plus a 4 is equal to 6. And then a negative 5 and a negative 4 is equal to a negative 9. So I have a negative x minus 9. Now that's much simpler, but I still do have variables on both sides. Okay, now I generally, because I have to have my variable on the left at the end, I will often move my variable to the left to start with. But in this case, I will definitely do it because I like to keep a positive x anytime possible. So I'm going to add an x. That's not a division sign. That's just marking my x's. Add an x and add an x because I want to get rid of these x's and bring my x's all to the left. So now I have a 3x plus 6 equals a negative 9. And then I'm going to get rid of the 6. So I'm going to subtract a 6 and subtract a 6. So I have 3x equals negative 15. I divide by 3. I divide by 3. And I get x is negative 5. All right, so let's go back and check. All right, so 3 times a negative 5 is a negative 15 plus a 2. And then minus x is minus a negative 5, which is a positive 5, plus 4 equals negative 5 minus a negative 5 is a positive 5. So those cancel out, minus a 4. Okay, so on the right-hand side, I have a minus 4. So I hope I have a minus 4 on the left-hand side. Let's see. 9, 10, 11, take away 15 is minus 4, isn't it? So they work. And let's look at the other board. Again, I have a little bit of prep work to do. I don't want to start worrying about that 2k until I figure out what I've got on the left. So k is a 1k, right? 1k minus 4k is negative 3k. Plus 3 plus 7 is plus 10 equals 2k minus 5. All right, now, if I want to keep it positive, I could move this over here. Let's do it that way this time. Okay, plus 3k plus 3k. So now I have 10 equals 5k minus 5. But then I want to get rid of the minus 5, so I plus 5 plus 5, and I wind up with 15 equals 5k. And 15 equals 5k means I divide by 5, and I divide by 5, and I get k is 3. Okay, if we just do a spot check in going back through, let me get the light off there. 3 plus 3 is 6, minus 12 is negative 6, plus 7 is 1. So on the left-hand side, we got a 1. Over here, we get 2 times k is 2 times 3 is 6, minus 5 is 1. We get a 1 on both sides, therefore, the solution is correct because it makes the statement true. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Okay, I've got lots of n's. So I have 2 n's on the left and 2 n's on the right. So let's get those consolidated. Negative 7n and a 2n is a negative 5n plus 3. And then on the right, 4n plus 1n is 5n minus 5. So I have a negative 5n and a positive 5n. So if I want to move it to the left, I'm going to have a negative 10n, but I'm going to just move it to the right. So this cancels, and I get a 3 equals 10n minus 5. So I'm going to add a 5 to get the n by itself, add a 5, and I'm going to get 10n is equal to 8. So 10n is equal to 8, and that means that n is 8 over 10, which is 4/5. Okay, so that's that board. And you're going to get so fast at this. This might look kind of tedious right now, but you're going to get to where you can do it really, really fast. Okay, this is our last example, and then we're going to start our practices. So again, we're going to look for all of our x's. We have an x, and on the other side, we have an x. We're going to deal with simplifying each side first. So 2x plus 7x is 9x minus 5. Then over here, we've got a 3x, and then the 5 and the 10 are like terms, so we add them together. So now we're going to subtract the 3x to get all of my x's on one side. 6x minus 5 equals 15. I want to get the x by itself, so I'm going to add a 5 to get rid of the negative 5. And I'm going to get 6x equals 20. Or divide by 6, divide by 6. x is, now 20 over 6 will simplify to 10 thirds. To 10 thirds. Okay, so there's your board for that one. Okay, so now practice A. So I want you to do this on your own. I want you to copy it down and then pause your video. Try it yourself. Okay, so hopefully you did that and you're back. So we're going to say 3m minus 7m is negative 4m is equal to 8m minus 6. So now I'm just going to move this one over here because I haven't done one like that. Just to show you, it really doesn't matter. Negative 4m minus another 8m is negative 12m equals negative 6. So I want to divide by a negative 12 to get the m by itself. And I get m is equal to 1/2. Okay, so let's go back. And we would have, all right, you can see this one is true. So I'm going to start here because it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to plug in 1/2 here. Negative 4 times 1/2 is negative 2. 8 times 1/2 is 4. 4 take away 6 is negative 2. And it checks. Okay, so that's practice problem A. Hopefully you got the same answer. Okay, so here we're on practice problem B. Copy the problem down and pause your video. Okay, so now we're going to get all the p's on the left-hand side, but look how many p's we have on the right-hand side. So the left-hand side is already as simplified as we can get it because we have a non-p term and a p term. We can't add those together or subtract them. So now 9p, 8p, 2p. We have 3p terms, so 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 2 is 19. P. Minus 7 minus 3 is minus 10. So now we're going to solve. We'll just go ahead and add a 6p this time. And that's going to give us a 5 equals 25p minus 10. Add 10 to get the p term by itself. And we're going to get 15 equals 25p. So now we're going to divide both sides by 25. And we're going to get 15 over 25 equals p, but you know that's not simplified, is it? We can divide the top and the bottom by 5, and we're going to get 3/5 equals p. Okay, so now if we went back in and plugged it in, let's be a little bit fast. Let's go. Let's just check this over real quick. 17, 18, 19. So I'm going to plug this in right here. So we've got 5 minus, and then we're going to multiply a 3/5 right here and a 3/5 right here. Let's see if we get it right. Okay, so this is 5 minus 18/5 or 25/5 minus 18/5. Remember, we can get a common denominator. 25/5 minus 18/5 is 7/5. So on the left we have 7/5. And here we've got 19 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. And carry the 2. 3, 4, 5, 57/5. Minus, now 10 would be 50/5. Which is going to be 7/5 again. And since I get 7/5 on both sides, that means my answer is correct. We did a lot of writing on that one. Okay, so here we have practice problem C, our next to the last practice problem. So copy your problem down and pause your video. Now on the left we have 1, 2, 3 x terms. 2x plus 3x is 5x plus 4x is 9x minus 5. Then on the right we have two constant terms, 4x plus 5. So let's just move our x terms to the left. So minus 4x, 5x, minus 5 equals 5. Add 5. Add 5 to get the variable term by itself. 5x equals 10, or x equals 2. Okay, now let's go back and check. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 4 times 2 is 8, and 10 plus 8 is 18. Take away 5 is 13. So on the left I get 13, if I didn't make a mistake. And on the right, when I plug a 2 in, 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 plus 2 is 13, and I get 13 on the right also. That is the correct answer to practice problem C, and we have one more left to go in this exercise. Okay, so here we go with the last practice problem. So copy it down and pause your video. Okay, so 3p plus 7 minus a negative 3 is really 7 plus 3, which is 10, is equal to p minus 2. Let's just write p plus minus 2 is minus 2. Okay, so let's move this p over here. So subtract the p, subtract the p. Notice I'm always doing the same thing to both sides. 2p plus 10 equals negative 2. And subtract a 10, subtract a 10. 2p equals negative 12. Divide by 2, divide by 2. P equals negative 6. Okay, so let's go back up and check. 3 times negative 6 is a negative 18. Negative 18 plus 7 is a negative 11. Negative 11 plus 3 is a negative 8. So we get a negative 8 on the left. And on the right, we get a negative 6. Plus a negative 2 is a negative 8 again. And we are done with this lesson. So I hope that now you're good on solving equations that have variables on both sides. And this is Mrs. A, and may God bless your day.